This is Part 2 Episode 172. Luo Feng's gaze landed on the 21 of them kneeling there. His eyes had a sense of rage. Guilty. These 21 should all die. These 21 that had been pointed out by the Virtual Universe Company, they had long passed the limit set by the 5 Leviathans of humanity, and these were all that could be found. The hidden things they did would be even more terrifying. Ao Kufei. Luo Feng shouted. His voice resounded throughout the hall, echoing over. A messy gold-haired brute looked up as he knelt there, his eyes begging as he looked at Luo Feng, not daring to say anything. Luo Feng's eyes however gleamed coldly, begging at this time. Afraid. To make over 10 billion young women die in the blood demon trial, even as they begged. As for the blood sea that resulted from that, how could he beg when his caused countless lives to die even as they begged? I sentence you. Luo Feng said coldly, to death. Ah? He struggled hard as he opened his mouth to shout, but he could barely make a sound, not able to even say a word. Rumble. The winged old man, who sat at the tablet, instantly rushed into the reception hall. As he stood before the 21 of them who were kneeling, he waved his hand and his condensed undying energy landed on the despair-filled Ao Kufei. He was instantly reduced to a bloody mess. Large amounts of items randomly scattered throughout the ground, his internal world had crumbled, leaving behind all his items. Ao Kufei, dead. The Virtual Universe Company has ordered. The winged old man smiled and looked at the group of angry undyings, and the over 1,000 sector lords. The moment His Majesty Luo Feng sentences any of the 21 to death, I will personally execute it. Over 100 undyings and over 1,000 sector lords all shuddered at the words from the member of the Virtual Universe Company. Even though they were bitter within, they didn't dare say anything. HMPH, don't disrupt Luo Feng's judgment. Blood Demon Emperor sat steadily in his chair and roared. Their judgments are all given by him, whether they die or live, only he can make the decision. No one else is to interfere. Yes. Over 1,000 warriors complied. Luo Feng, go on. Blood Demon Emperor shot a glance at him, his glance was somewhat cold. Even though he may say he didn't care about the other 19, if Luo Feng could allow any of the 19 to live, he would still be happy. However, he didn't expect Luo Feng to sentence the very first person to death, naturally he wouldn't be happy about it. Next. Luo Feng's gaze moved on to another sector lord, Kusai Chi. The skinny man with fur all over his face shook, looking at Luo Feng as he begged. I sentence you. Luo Feng said coldly, to death. Rumble. The sector lord Kusai Chi was filled with despair. The winged old man who showed beside him gave him a slap, and he was reduced to a mess, as large amount of items flew out. Death. 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 Sentencing one after another. Slapping the despair-filled sector lords, large amount of their items filled the reception hall. Some even with universe ships and all, it had become a small mountain within. Silence and pressure. The entire atmosphere was tense. Luo Feng had continuously sentenced the 19 to death. It made the over 100 undyings, and over 1,000 sector lords all burn with rage. Even Blood Demon Emperor, the aura he emitted had steadily grown stronger. However, he still controlled it, as he had only lost the sector lords so far. This Luo Feng sure is vicious, that's fine, killing the 19 is fine. As for Abdullah and Yasuo, I doubt you have the guts to kill the 2 of them. Blood Demon Emperor stared silently at Luo Feng. Only 2 more were left kneeling. These 2 were the 2 undyings, Yasuo and Abdullah. Yasuo. Luo Feng's gaze landed on the undying, his eyes gleaming with ferocity. After viewing the information about the 2 undyings, Luo Feng felt that the 2 of them had already thought of themselves as true gods, placing themselves far above countless others. They massacred humans and stepped on them for fun, they didn't even treat them as lives. High and mighty, they treated other humans as ants, almost like they were from another race. I sentence you. Luo Feng's voice was steady, to death. No. Yasuo looked up fiercely, his eyes were filled with madness. Rumble. After which he became a beam of light and rushed at Luo Feng, roaring, "You don't have the right to kill me." Looking for death. The winged old man's expression changed. Even though Yasuo was chained up and couldn't use his undying energy, just his physical undying strength was enough to kill a sector lord. Anxiously, the old man rushed ahead to block Luo Feng. Rumble. A blood-colored palm extended out of mid-air and landed on Yasuo. Rumble. He was instantly reduced to powder. He hadn't reached the level of undying body yet. The strike alone had completely decimated all remnants of his soul. His soul was gone, and he couldn't revive anymore. Silence, the entire hall was silent. Everyone looked on in fear at Blood Demon Emperor. Even Luo Feng looked at him with shock. That attack earlier was from the powerful Blood Demon Emperor. Impudence. His bloodthirst boiled as he roared. To dare make a move on a member sent by the Virtual Universe Company, he deserved to die. Luo Feng, carry on with your judgment of Abdullah. I believe you will definitely make a fair judgment. Fair, the word was heavy. Abdullah. Luo Feng turned to Abdullah. Your Majesty Luo Feng. Abdullah looked at him. Everyone in the hall looked at Luo Feng. The aura Blood Demon Emperor emanated too was heavier than before, as the atmosphere was extremely tense. I sentence you. Luo Feng's voice was as firm as ever, to death. Ah? Abdullah immediately roared. The winged old man was already prepared with a huge arc blade. It instantly slashed past Abdullah, and the countless wind energy instantly sliced him into 10,000 parts. The undying energy infused within wreaked havoc and reduced him to powder, and his soul was destroyed as well. The winged old man wielded his huge arc blade and smiled at Luo Feng. No one else there could even force a smile, especially the over 100 undyings, and over 1,000 sector lords that gritted their teeth and raged. As for Blood Demon Emperor, he sat there and didn't move at all. His rage, however, had filled the entire hall. Rumble. He slammed his palm on the table fiercely. All the luxurious delicacies, along with the table itself, was reduced to powder. Luo Feng. Blood Demon Emperor stared coldly at Luo Feng. Luo Feng could feel his cold gaze staring hard at him. Your judgment was very, very fair. He smiled coldly. Since you've completed your mission, I won't make you stay. Blood Demon Emperor. Luo Feng bowed very respectfully. This was a test from the Virtual Universe Company, and has huge implications on my future. I hope you can understand. HMPH. Blood Demon Emperor snorted coldly and became a blood-colored blur, vanishing from sight. He didn't wish to even see Luo Feng at all. If Luo Feng wasn't representing the Virtual Universe Company, he probably would have immediately killed him. Your Majesty's judgment was indeed very fair. The winged old man smiled. Now that the third mission is over, my job is done, I'll take my leave. Dylan, let's go. Luo Feng said directly. Yes. Dylan replied. The two of them became beams of light, and instantly rushed out of Blood Demon Palace, piercing through the atmosphere, and taking the Yunmo planet ship through universe travel, swiftly leaving. Bastard. Bastard. He should die, he should die. Blood Demon Emperor roared. He was enraged. Even though Luo Feng had explained himself at the end, it was not enough to quell Blood Demon Emperor's rage. What level of position was he at? If he went under any of the knights, he would instantly become their number one emperor level undying. That level of power was indeed enough to dominate many universe countries, yet he lowered himself to welcome Luo Feng with such hospitality, making such an extravagant banquet. Yet the outcome was still the same. This Luo Feng, he thinks is some big shot. I showed him respect and he actually humiliated me. He gripped his fists tight, his bones were cracking within. The Yunmo planet ship flew through the dark universe, within the control room. You can still smile. Dylan couldn't help but say, that Blood Demon Emperor treated you with such hospitality, and even made a banquet, yet you still sentenced all 21 to death. This is a blatant slap to the face. Barbata's voice resounded within the control room. And you can still smile. Dylan looked at Luo Feng. Luo Feng smiled and stood there. What's the point in regretting things that have been done? Heart like a mirror, seeing through things clearly. When he saw the third mission earlier, he was indeed speechless. The virtual universe company was indeed forcing him to humiliate Blood Demon Emperor and completely enrage him. Against an enraged Blood Demon Emperor, they made Luo Feng go and carry out the sentences. How dangerous was this mission? After careful consideration, he solved the problem and immediately decided to sentence all 21 of them to death. All of Blood Demon Emperor's actions, along with his extravagant banquet, couldn't influence him at all. One must be flexible. However, if one always compromises, then he becomes a coward. Hence, if one truly cannot compromise, he has to stand firm and be unwavering. Luo Feng was very clear about this. Bending over too much will make one a hunchback. A man should know when to be flexible. Even Hanshin had suffered humiliation before. However, if he had compromised every single time, would he still have become a hero? If Luo Feng had faced death earlier, he might have compromised. However, it was clear Blood Demon Emperor didn't dare make a move on him. And after the highest point mission was over, Luo Feng would enter the Primal Chaos City to train. The next time he came out, his strength would have undergone a huge transformation. When that time came, using the soldier armor and other methods, he believed he could deal with the dangers. He's just a Blood Demon Emperor. If I don't even have the guts to face such danger, what right would I have to become an absolute warrior? Luo Feng thought. Flexible. When to bear with things, and when to reveal one's fangs. This involved every problem one would face. Those that were able to do well in these would naturally have great achievements. Dylan saw that Luo Feng didn't even seem nervous about it. He couldn't help but say, "Little uncle." Luo Feng was stunned. Dylan usually called him Your Majesty. Why did he change now? There are many hidden dangers in the path to becoming strong. You cannot get careless. Dylan said nervously, "I'm here on orders from the Grandmaster to protect you. Even if we meet any true dangers, I can swiftly call my teacher Bloodthirst Emperor over. However, this is only during your Domain Lord stage. When you reach Sector Lord level and go explore the more dangerous areas, you'll experience far crazier levels of danger. And the guard team cannot be there to protect you anymore. When that time comes where there is no one to protect you, characters like Blood Demon Emperor may arrange for assassination attempts on you. People may not even know how you die." "I understand." Luo Feng nodded. "If you knew that, how could you still offend him like that?" Dylan said. "Dylan, although I understand it, it's too late now." "All right." Luo Feng said. Dylan couldn't help but shake his head. Luo Feng was grateful for Dylan's concern. However, Dylan couldn't possibly know about his trump cards. When he reaches Sector Lord Pinnacle, he would immediately have 50 million mixed elements. With that huge amount, he would definitely buy valuable treasures. Like training deities of the world. Or evolving the cloud contact vine to undying. Anyway, he already had a rough idea of how to strengthen himself. Along with his clones, he naturally had his own ways of making sure he wouldn't die. His strength may not be enough to withstand those beings, but he could still improve his survival rate. Luo Feng, there's mail." Barbata's voice resounded in his mind. "It should be the mission completion rate." Luo Feng muttered and immediately sent a thread of consciousness into the Virtual Universe network. Virtual Universe Yuseong Mountain Primal Region, Luo Feng's villa. Within the study, Luo Feng sat at his desk and gently tapped open the mail, and while looking at the subject title, he realized that it was the third level's mission completion status. The details were: "You've already completed the highest point mission's third level. Through the judgment of the members, Luo Feng, your completion rate of this third level is 100%. You'll get 300,000 points and the right to go on to the fourth level." Seeing those words, Luo Feng and Barbata were stunned. 100% completion. It actually reached that level. It was absurd. it represented that the upper echelon members that judged his mission on Blood Demon Planet to be completely satisfactory from start to end. This made Luo Feng suspicious. He had already guessed that his completion rate would be high, but 100% was extreme, after which he looked at the comments. Evaluation: Bloodthirst Emperor lowered himself to welcome you and prepared a huge banquet for you. Even with all these formless pressures along with his status and reputation, Luo Feng, you actually still dealt the death sentence to all 21, it is commendable. You maintained your sense of self, despite all the threats and pressure. You are indeed strong and sturdy. Well done. We hope you can carry on this way. Seeing those words, Luo Feng laughed. What does it mean? Barbata shouted, his voice piercing. The evaluation says it's very satisfied with you. Why is it so? Because I was unwilling to compromise and completed the mission perfectly. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed brightly as he laughed. I completely understand now. What do you understand? Barbata asked curiously. You know very little about human character. Luo Feng shook his head. On Earth, Luo Feng was considered the upper echelon too, hence it was easy for him to consider things from that angle. What did the virtual universe company's upper echelon need? They needed assistance. Even with the Emperor-level Undyings, they were still only considered as helpers of the Knights. After that, when they become the great Knights themselves, there would still be even greater beings above these Knights, beings like the Primal Chaos City Leader etc. In summary, the true bosses, the upper echelon people. As for those below, they were simply there to execute orders. If I were to nurture a genius, it would not be bad if he became an Emperor-level Undying. As for becoming a Knight, the chances are extremely low, hence this mission is actually for them to pick their assistants in the future. Luo Feng muttered. If I were the upper echelon members, I'd naturally hope for my underlings to stay strong and finish the mission. If they were to back down in the face of danger or compromise when there's trouble, the missions wouldn't be able to complete fully. These sort of underlings naturally wouldn't do. Strong and firm. To the upper echelon, they definitely wish for their underlings to be strong and firm, acting like a loyal dog to them. Luo Feng smiled. It was like the statesmen and generals of ancient China. They were all incredibly loyal and were even willing to die rather than to give in. These were the underlings the upper echelon would like. Talent, loyalty and firmness. These were good underlings. In truth, it was hard to find such people. Most absolute geniuses had themselves as the core. They judged the hour and sized up each situation, backing down at danger and would usually submit in the face of danger. However, these naturally went against the mission requests. Hence the judgment of this level was especially easy. If Luo Feng had spared the two Undyings, the mission completion rate would definitely be lower than 80% in the evaluation. It would have stated that he was too protective of himself, a coward and was unable to take huge responsibility. If Luo Feng had only killed one Undying and heavily punishing the other, he would have barely passed 80%. But Luo Feng's actions naturally resulted in 100%. Luo Feng was very firm and decisive, bold and dedicated to progress. Even in the face of danger, he hardly ever backed down, unless it was truly something he couldn't handle. Luo Feng, look at the 4th level. Barbata shouted, there's another mail. Luo Feng laughed and opened the mail. The highest point mission has 4 levels, each getting more vicious than the other. The 3rd was already vicious enough. Who knows what the 4th level will be? The 1st level gave 100,000 points. The 2nd had 200,000 points. The 3rd was 300,000 points. The 4th, even though it seemed like it was just 400,000 points, in truth, it was probably the most critical to the extra reward that came after, that being 1 million points. Hence the importance of the 4th level was huge. Luo Feng gently tapped open the mail. 4th level, it is the final level of the highest point mission. It is also the most crucial for the extra reward. We hope, Luo Feng, that you will carry it out carefully. Mission background. Ever since Luo Feng rose up and became a supervisor envoy of the Ganwu department, his family's position has been getting stronger. As his bloodline members range in the hundreds of thousands, including the many daughter-in-laws and so on, his members exceed over 1 million. Even though they have their family rules, however, it's not realistic for the family to have complete supervision over the later generations that are scattered throughout the universe. Hence, naturally there will be vermin within the family. Mission details: Luo family's 21 members have been recognized as guilty. Luo Feng, you will now sentence these 21. You can choose death, jail for 100 years, jail for 10,000 years, or innocent. If you choose death, you will have to execute them personally. These 21 are. Luo Feng's face was ashen as he read. He continued to look through the list. Luo Fuxin, Luo Feng's 15th generation grandson. He used Luo family's influence to do energy business. When he meets a competitor, he either assassinates them or sabotages them, and he had also once completely massacred a family of thousands. Since Luo Feng is the supervisor envoy of the Ganwu Universe Department, the many departments don't dare investigate. Luo Yu Qian, Luo Feng's 9th generation grandson. Luo Yu Rong, Luo Feng's 9th generation grandson. Luo Fang Qiong, Luo Feng's 12th generation grandson. Luo Hongguo, Luo Feng's father. Luo Feng began reading this mail while sitting there. As he read, he slowly got up, his face growing more ashen, especially after seeing the 21 names on the list. His gaze went manic. That last name, Luo Hongguo, made him slam the table violently. Rumble. The table exploded and the laptop split apart. Damn. Luo Feng's expression was frenzied as he cursed. 21, 21. Luo Feng's expression was ugly, and he laughed softly at the same time. Vicious, I just punished 21 in Blood Demon Planet. Now they give me this 4th level, making me sentence another 21 of them. Even though all of them are mostly my later generation grandsons, the final one is still my father. Implausible. Seriously implausible. Luo Feng gritted his teeth. I do admit there are some amongst the 21 that deserve death, but my father. He does nothing but play virtual games the whole day, for you all to actually deem him guilty. The family was huge, including the women, it hit over 1 million. With such a large family, it was certain that there would be some vermin within, but for Luo Hongguo to be placed in the list, it made Luo Feng rage. Who was that? That was his father. The father that nurtured him. How could he forget that back then, when they were in the rental house, his father had worked hard to feed the family? According to the virtual universe's investigative results that were found, even if he was dragged to a court, the punishment of death sentence would be too severe. He would be jailed for at least 10,000 years, etc. However, Luo Feng was very clear about his father's personality. It was obvious his father had unknowingly been used by others. Actually, with the virtual universe company's investigative abilities, it could easily find the real reason. However, they purposely chose not to do so, or they decided not to provide extra information. This way. With 21 names on the list, each with different positions and different limits of crimes. Like an emperor-level undying, even if he massacred over 10 planets and over 100 billion lives, he wouldn't be guilty. However, for normal people, within the confines of the law, even if they killed one universe citizen, he could be sentenced to death. Father. Luo Feng gripped his fists tightly. What are you prepared to do, Luo Feng? Barbata muttered on his shoulder, you sentenced all 21 members on Blood Demon Planet to death before. But now, the Virtual Universe Company has sent another 21 of them, yet all of them are from your family. Damn, look, these 21 all have the Luo name. It's definitely intentional, and was created to make your life difficult, and then your father's name is there as well. How will you sentence them? This video end here.